Hello everyone, today I want to share my Cyno build and team compositions with you in this short guide. As always, I start with a build, then go over team compositions and show some Abyss gameplay at the end. As for the build, it's a pretty standard main DPS build, just the usual attack, a crit rate, crit damage, in his case obviously electro damage bonus. He needs some energy recharge. I think to be completely comfortable you need like 140%, and he has elemental mastery scaling and wants to deal a lot of aggravate or hyper bloom damage, so you want at least like 300 elemental mastery. I'm definitely a little bit light on this stat. As for talent priority, it's kind of equal between the elemental skill and elemental burst skill, just level both of them and you can definitely ignore the normal attack. As for constellations, a lot of them are just a damage or attack speed increase, except for Constellation 4, which is kind of interesting because whenever Cyno triggers an elemental reaction when his elemental burst skill is active, he generates 3 elemental energy for his whole party, which kind of makes him even more similar to Raiden, which obviously is a good thing because Raiden is completely broken. As for weapon options, the Massive Wind Spear is definitely nice, and in case you missed it, you kind of run into the usual main DPS polearm problem. The good ones are locked behind the Battle Pass or the Paimon shop. I'd say the Favonius Lance is a good option. It has nice base attack and it helps managing Cyno's energy. And another really good option is the Dragon's Bane with his Elemental Mastery substat, but only if you have Jingshou in your team to actually get this effect online. As for artifacts, we already covered substats earlier. As for main stats, it's attack percentage in this slot, unless you have a really great elemental mastery main stat piece, then this probably outperforms attack percentage. In this one, electro damage bonus, and in the last one, crit rate or crit damage, whichever one balances your stats better. As for the set effects, the easiest one is just going for the new Gilded Dream set. It's just extra stats, but you can also run a 4-piece Thundering Fury set to get the decreased cooldown of the elemental skill, and you can pretty much spam it over and over again. But for this you need to guarantee triggering elemental reactions with each of Cyno's hits, so another case for Jingshou or Yelan for example. As for team compositions, Cyno is obviously an electro main DPS who has elemental mastery scaling, so he wants to trigger elemental reactions, and for electro characters, the one character you always want to have in your team is a sub DPS Dendro character. Of course, right now we only have the Traveler and Collet, so one of these will always be in your team. As for your healer, you can obviously pick Bennett for the extra attack buff, but Cyno's normal attacks have like no stagger value, so he easily gets pummeled to death, so Zhongli is a really great option to just keep him safe with her shield. And of course the resistance shred is great, and if you have the 4-piece Archaic Petra set, the extra electro damage is also really nice. In the last slot we are looking for a sub DPS or utility character, and in case you run Zhongli, of course Albedo is a really great option to activate Geo Resonance, and the Elemental Mastery buff is a really nice synergy with Cyno's Elemental Mastery scaling. For the same reason you could run Sucrose for the Elemental Mastery buff, and in case you want to run a Viridescent set Anemo character to shred the Electro resistance. Sucrose, Venti, Kazuha for example. And with this you have an aggravate team. And the other option would be a Hyper Bloom team by slotting in a Hydro sub DPS, and in my opinion the only good options are Yelan or Jingshou for this, because Cyno obviously attacks really fast and they trigger on each normal attack, which is a lot of damage for these characters. Now for the showcase, Cyno is really easy to use. All you gotta do is press the Elemental Burst skill and do a bunch of normal attacks. Occasionally you see this Egyptian eye flash up, I'm sorry I don't know what it's called, and that's your cue to press the Elemental skill. That's all there is about this character. Aside from this, if you run the Thundering Fury set and a Jingshou team, then you can pretty much spam the elemental skill over and over again. You will miss some of these cues, but it's worth it because you generate a lot of energy by pressing the elemental skill over and over again, and it's pretty decent damage as well. Alright, let's see how this looks like in action. The first thing you always want to do with a Cyno is press the elemental skill to set up your Viridescent set or Archaic Petra set with Zhongli. And in case of the Archaic Petra set, make sure that you trigger it on Zhongli, so you want to pick this up with him and get the Electro Shield, otherwise it doesn't work. Now you can just press these skills and then switch to your Dendro character to activate the Dendro reactions and just trigger a bunch of aggravate. and this is the Q I was talking about. Just press your elemental skill whenever you see that. And for now, I'm gonna leave you with some Abyss gameplay and come back at the end. Before that, one quick thing though is, I'm really not sold on Cyno, I'm sorry. He just feels like a very inferior version of Raiden. He has very nice, high consistent damage, which is probably higher than Raiden's to be fair, but Raiden also gets a big chunk of burst damage initially, which is more valuable in my opinion, and obviously all the utility in the world from like the energy generation and increased elemental burst damage, and for some reason whenever you attack with Raiden, everything gets staggered and you don't have to worry about dying at all. With a Cyno you kind of have to pay attention. So if you for whatever reason watch this video and don't have Cyno yet, I really can't recommend him, especially with the prospect in mind that Raiden might come back and patch a 3.3 since they pretty much run all the Archons right now.
Your sins weigh upon your soul. Well played. Your penance is due. You stand condemned. Your penance is due.
Yahoo! Time for takeoff.
Vice. Nowhere to run.
Brace yourself.
Alright, we made it to the end. I hope this gave you some inspiration for your own bits. Stay tuned for more videos. Until then, have fun and bye bye.